What's going on, you guys? Welcome to Risky Ryan Trades. Today we're going over the weekly watch list, where I'm going to go down through a number of the names that I'm paying attention to, not just ones that I feel like are good buys, but just ones that I just like to keep an eye on. They're in my portfolio, they're popular, so you're going to see names like NVIDIA, Amazon, Meta, Palantir, CrowdStrike, SoFi, Shopify, Shark Ninja, Tesla, Bitcoin, you name it. I'm going to be going over it. So buckle in, maybe get a notepad out. I'm filming this before market open on Monday. So good chance that you're watching this, the market's already going. So if I'm mentioning a certain level, you're going to want to pay attention to it. So without further ado, let's just get on with it. So we're looking at the SPY right now. And you can see here's my Gann angle right here. We definitely cut under it. We also have a weekly gap that I've been keeping an eye on. I've talked about this in previous videos. Right here at 558, if we get a gap fill, I think that's where we bottom out at before like a move to the upside. At the same time, I think it's going to take a lot for us to get below this Gann angle. And at the same time, we've done it many times. So, if I do zoom out, like there is a lot of signal, in my opinion, on this Gann, but like right here, but it's not perfect. I could probably like work on it a little bit. So I actually prefer to look at the fibs, and hey, if the market crashes because of World War III, that's where I think it bottoms out at 558. That's the SPY. Let's take a look at the Qs. Qs also have a gap right here at 489. They appear to be sort of rolling over. So you could see us come down, maybe wick down to 490 and then come close, above 498. So these, I look at the SPY and I look at the Qs to determine where the market bottom is. So if I see the Qs closing this gap at the same time that one of these other stocks that I'm going to go over is hitting its key level and is finding support there, boom, I hit the buy button right there. It's a confluence thing. Meta looks really interesting to me. I did catch the bottom. This and CrowdStrike is what I bought mostly at the very bottom of the market during that big drawdown. And I mean, what an incredible trade that was. I actually bought it under these levels because it was in overnight trading. So far, that's been a 43% return in 11 weeks. Not too shabby. Now, where do I think it's going to go? Well, Meta also has a little gap, and it lines right up with these Gann angles. So I would not be surprised if we came down and touched these levels, maybe even this Fibonacci level 575, although I think that would be short-lived. And you can see the volume weighted average price lines right up with this Gann angle right here. So I actually think that if we get a downturn this week, that's the level that I'm going to be looking to buy. And Meta's a wonderful company. I think it's my generation's Microsoft, as far as being just like such a freight train of a business model. And this Gann angle is growing at a 31% compounded annual growth rate. That's incredible. So if it holds this line, which it's been able to do for quite some time, and I expected it to do that at least up to $1,000, you're going to get great returns, I think. By the way, none of this is financial advice. This is just my opinion. If you lose money listening to Risky Ryan, what did you expect? At the same time, I don't plan on losing money, not at all. And this is where I'm putting my money. Amazon. There we go. Amazon, we could get a return if a drop down happens to 188. If I pull the log out, this is 189. So there's a lineup there. So 188 is where I would expect this to bottom out at. This one also, I really like my chart here. So even though I might be able to get like a better return than 31%, which maybe with Shopify I can, but I'd rather get it with Amazon. It's more of a safe bet, in my opinion. I'll be buying Amazon if I can get it down there at those levels. So 185 to call it 190. If I see Amazon there, I'm buying it, and that would be, to me, that would be the bottom. I don't think of the market. Like, that's another thing you could watch, just like SPY. I really do like the GAN that I drew for this stock. I feel like it has a lot of signal on it. It's been, if you were to buy the support levels when they happened on here, like this, and then the breakout, I mean, you'd have done pretty dang well for yourself. Yeah, if you would have bought this down here, like, you would have been able to see the very bottom right there with this GAN. So I like this GAN. There's a lot of signal in it. Moving on to NVIDIA. NVIDIA's in a great spot too. I just have a hard time seeing this thing dropping. So, like, if the whole market drops, I think it just gets interesting. It could, who knows? I mean, no way does it come to $78. So we almost have to draw some Fibonacci's here. I don't know why my Fibonacci's are gone. So let's do that to kind of figure out where we might see a bottom form. So right here, 110 bucks, that could be a potential bottom spot. But ultimately, I think it follows this angle here for some time. I've shown you guys this before. It was following a lower GAN angle, and it went on a journey from 2015 until almost 10 years. It finally made it over this angle, and I think this is just going to be its growth trajectory going forward. So ultimately, I think we follow this line through the years. We make our way up to it, get over it, maybe fall below it, but we'll touch it over and over again for the next few years. So I like NVIDIA, and if I get a dip on that, my position's pretty built on this. I'm not going to lie. Like, I went in heavy, actually down here, and then again right here, and I totally lucked out. Like, this pullback was like way above my cost basis. And I've had a good position in NVIDIA, and I don't need to necessarily add. But if you were looking to add, or if I was looking to add, 110, and, like, gimme, I might have to buy some at 110. Palantir needs to come back and touch this GAN angle before I even consider buying some more Palantir. It's just so hard to not feel like you're chasing this stock. But truly, we could see it come down to like $100 to $110. That would be my buy zone. You could add a little bit there and not feel too bad about it. CrowdStrike. It's in a buy high, cry later situation. Look how it's rolling over and shooting wicks through this resistance level. I would suspect that, and by the way, what a great trade this was too. I mean, how am I doing on this so far? 60%? Hell yeah. I think this could pull back though, and it could bring you all the way back down to like $400. It could happen. And if it were to happen, I'd be picking up some shares. So CrowdStrike, I'm looking at, truly, I don't think I buy until it hits $400. That's a decent enough pullback for me to start pulling the trigger on it again. SoFi is just, wow. This one's hard. I mean, you're above 50 on the RSI. The MACD is crossing over in the right direction. This thing is breaking out. It'll feel like you're chasing. We could get a retest back down to 1371, but that might be all you get. And this stock, I would not be surprised if this thing runs while everything drops. It might be one of those stocks, and I have a few of those in here. Bitcoin, we looked at this morning. I'm still saying that like about 95,000 is probably where we see the bottom. And if it does break that level, then you're looking at about 87,000. But it's going to follow this angle. And this angle is growing. at an 87% CAGR. Incredible. Incredible. So good for Bitcoin. Tesla's in a strange kind of spot here, but I do like my GAN quite a bit. I think it's pretty accurate. Pretty accurate. If we were to get some kind of pull down, I tried to get cute with it, and I ended up not buying it because it didn't hit 265. It only got to 275. I'm not really that upset about it, though. I have a good position in it, and it's for the longest time it was a Tesla bear. So the fact I have any position at all is it's a big deal. But the robotaxi thing, I mean, this one also could run instead of fall. But if next week we can get it at 270, I'll be buying it. Shopify doing the rollover that I think CrowdStrike's going to do. This thing, I'm looking at $88. I'm actually okay DCAing into this slowly, though, because my position is not built. And even from here, if I go out 52 weeks, according to my forecast, I'm still getting a 20% return from even these levels. So I'm okay with buying here and there. But if I get a chance at this thing at like $81 or like even $90, anywhere between 80 and $90, especially as we go into earnings, I'm going to be buying and building my position quickly. Shopify is one of my favorites right now. Absolute favorites. Uber, I don't have a position in Uber, but I would like one. I would like one a lot. So I would need to see this thing come down to like 75, $77, maybe 70. Yeah. Call it 75 to $78, and you start seeing me building a position again in Uber. I came out of my position, and probably good for me, because look at 2024. It was just the year of chop. Let's lock that in. Yeah, I don't think you ever see it go back to $65 though. I think the chop is over. I think it's just going to grind higher until it's out of this. And if it were to break above $95 and start to move quickly, I would. At that point, it's a breakout, and because it's clearly grinding higher. I would have to chase and start DCAing into it. But for now, I've actually just been waiting for a pullback on that one. Netflix is just a fucking beast, dude. It wants $1,700 so bad. It's going to have to break through 1,300. That's going to be tough, and I think it goes back down to 1,000 before it's able to do that. Spotify, what a freight train this thing is. I have not been able to add to it. I bought a bunch of 350 or 300 to 350, and I guess I had an opportunity here and here. And would this have been better than CrowdStrike? No. So I was right for buying CrowdStrike when I bought it at the bottom of the market. But man, I wish I could get a pullback on this thing, because I would love to buy this. This is growing at, let's see here. Oh my God. Oh my gosh, dude. This thing is, the CAGR on this thing is actually insane. 131% CAGR. How long can this really keep it up? I don't think so. I think that eventually we break down and go to this, we touch this line here. But even if that's the case, so if it started dropping, you could get a -5%. But then what if you went 104 weeks out, or 2 years from now? What kind of return are you looking at? A 70% return. And I think that's probably more likely than not what's going to happen. I only have like a handful of shares. So if we hit this 11.10 and it coincides with this, I might sell a share. I would like to sell 2 shares, but I probably can't afford to. I got to hold. And then you might see it bounce around, consolidate until we hit this line, and then back on the wagon we go. Where it stops, nobody knows. But Spotify is just a beast. Honest Brand, sold a bunch of my Honest. I just think it's making its way here. I don't think there's any rush to this trade. I could be wrong. Once the small caps, once we get interest rate cuts, small caps and fintechs, I'm going to be looking at a lot closer. Or I should say, as we lead up to the cuts, which could be in July, honestly. So it all depends on what the market does, and if we get close to these angles by July. Shark Ninja closed the week over the $89 range. RSI got above 50, and the MACD is doing its thing. So we could be going higher. I pretty much built my position what I want it to be. I've been invested in Shark Ninja before, so once it hit levels that I liked, I just went all in pretty much with what the position I wanted. I didn't do a starter position. I just bought. However, you know, if we can get closer to this angle again, I would buy again. I sound like a broken record, but that's my strategy. It's that simple. If I can get close to the angle that it's at a support and I know what the CAGR is, I just feel really good about buying. AMD, I think we're coming back down to 108. We could even wick down. This would be my biggest buy. If I were to get $95 for AMD, I don't think it's going to happen. I can't imagine it going to 95 bucks. The market knows this is the bottom right here. So I would buy more at 107. Toast, in no man's land. I want to buy some, but it's going to take interest rate cuts. That's going to cause this thing to spike. So I'm waiting to start my position for it to get closer to some kind of support level. It's quite literally in no man's land between two Fibonacci levels and two Gann angles. So I can't buy it at these levels. DoorDash is a hold at the moment. It's holding up, but it's not getting up and over this angle. So if the market were to crash down next week and it closed under 208, I might actually sell my position and wait for it to make a decision, either close above 219 again or buy a dip at 188. Because if that were to happen, it would take a lot for it to reclaim this angle, and it's probably on its way to this one. So we're in a precarious situation here for Dash, but I just bought the position up, and I really do think that it wants to ride this angle more, but the macro is a little weird. But you know what the macro doesn't matter to? Healthcare, because healthcare is a defensive sector. And when you have HIMSS, which is a growth stock in a defensive sector, you have the makings of an absolute beast. And this thing closed above its Fibonacci level. It confirmed this Gann angle. And so I have been buying, like all of this. I bought down here too. I started a position in this area down here after this earnings. I became a believer, and then I've been buying this little area right here, and I do think that it could pop all the way up to 100 in the next couple of weeks. It's really like that, but ultimately I think it follows this Gann, and you have it's like a 100% CAGR, this thing. So HIMSS, love HIMSS. That's probably one of my safer bets, even though it's a high flyer, even though you think like, oh God, it's gone so high. It's showing strength and it's not stopping. Let's take a look at SMH. SMH getting rejected by the Gann arc, which you don't love to see. So this is another indicator to me that we could be coming down and filling gaps. This actually is beautiful. This is actually beautiful. If the gap filled, we would come down to 227, and that would probably correspond with AMD and correspond with NVIDIA. So if you're not sure where the bottom is for NVIDIA or for AMD, you might look at SMH and wait for it to hit 227, somewhere between 217 and 227. And if it's in there, then you can be pretty confident then that NVIDIA and AMD are reaching their bottoms as well. All right, let's just take a look at silver here real quick. Silver is interesting, right? Looks like silver's pounding out a base here and it wants to go higher. Silver loves war. Gold loves war, of course. Oil loves war. Let's take a look at oil. I'm sure that's fun to look at. Silver, I don't expect a pullback, but if we get a pullback to $30, guess what? I'm buying silver. But I actually think that we are going to be moving to $45 before we're moving back down to $30. That's just my hunch. Now, there are a bunch of cryptos that I could take a look at, but I already did that this morning. So at the end of this video, I'll have that pop up. And if you're interested in my cryptos, commentary, that's where you can watch it. I hope you enjoyed this video, got some value out of it. Hoping for green days, but I'm also kind of hoping for a big crash so I can buy more stocks because I think that we are in a bull trend. If war could make the US stock market crash, if war could cripple the US stock market just wouldn't exist because we are at war all the time, aren't we? So I'm not bearish, I'm bullish. The bull trend continues. We're just coming back to support this week is my guess. But everything could change. Those are the levels just in case it does drop. If you got value out of it, hit the like button. It helps me grow the channel. If you have any questions about my process, if you have stocks you want me to take a look at, comment them below. I'll be happy to take a look at it on the next weekly watch list or my next video. And if you'd like to see my next video, I have another one. I have one coming out on Zeta. Zeta isn't the next Oscar. So hit subscribe if you'd like to see that. Follow me on X. Follow me on Instagram, Risky Ryan Trades. And until next time, Risky Ryan out.